I'm going to show you how to replace a pin valve on an actuator for a HVAC system. This is a floorboard radiant heat system. If you find this content helpful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So with this floorboard heating system, we want to go to all the thermostats in the house and turn them down so that they're not calling for heat on every single one. Here's the radiant floorboard heater. And the actuator is in the closet right here. They're all together. We have 4 zones. I'm going to show you how to replace not the actuator, but the pin valve inside. So I turned all the thermostats down. I also turned the power off to the furnace with a switch and at the breaker. We can guarantee that this is not powered up. And I waited about an hour so that the water in the lines was also not hot, just in case I had an accident. So here, the white actuator, the control, the electronic part, pops right off, revealing the pin valve that is in the manifold underneath. And that's what we're going to replace. So when we're not calling for heat, this pin valve remains closed. And when we call for heat, the top of this raises, which allows the pin valve to raise also because it wants to raise. It has a spring on it. Then the water flows, the heat flows, then heating your house. But this is stuck in the down position, so it's always closed. This is what it looks like when we're calling for heat in zone 1, 2, and 3. You can see the blue tab pops up and the actuator is then loose because the actuator pin has popped up, or rather it should on the other ones that are working, but on zone 1, it won't pop up. And I did this to show you that it's easier. They're loose when they're being called for heat, the actuators. This is the new pin valve. It moves pretty freely. It wants to be spring loaded up. So we're going to remove zone 2, and you can see the difference between the two. This is a working zone valve, very easily pushed down. You can see that it's popped up. This one isn't even popped up. It can hardly move. It's just stuck in the closed position. So you remove that gray adapter piece, and actually look at that. The cover for the valve came off with it. So what we do is we close these valves at the manifold. Then we undo the drain valve at the manifold. We let the manifold pressure fall out through this hose. It's now pouring through. It's only about 5 seconds of water. With the manifold pressure off, we can now remove that brass ring that was holding that pin valve actually in there. It's more secure than that video showed. I just already removed it and, process of video making. So we just get the right size socket and we can remove the valve from the manifold and it comes right off. Since we isolated the manifold, nothing pours out. We drain the pressure off, not even a drip of water comes out. Again, here's the new pin valve, and we're just going to be very careful not to cross thread it. We're going to get that in there, and then we're going to secure it with about as much force as we use to take it off, which I couldn't tell you how much it is, but I just didn't overdo it, but I got it nice and tight, as you don't want any liquid coming out. So tighten it down, and here's the old one. I tried doing this to free it up. I tried using needle nose pliers to free it up, but this old one was completely seized. Now I tried doing this while it was in the manifold. You got to be careful though, not to make a bigger accident. So we tighten this ring down, this kind of security ring to hold that pin valve in place. I just used my channel locks and I secured that down. Then I could apply the adapter piece. You just want to make sure you're tightening everything down appropriately. Again, I couldn't apply this with the heat off, so I had to call. So this is with the heat off, not calling for heat. You can't get it on there. I mean, I had a hell of a time. So what you have to do is you have to then turn the heat on so that little white actuator is calling for heat. It then rises and then gives you the wiggle room to then apply it. So I opened the valves, saw nothing leaking, turned the heat on, removed the drain hose, hit the power back on so that everything was calling for heat at all thermostats, but I just need the 2 I took off, truly. So just give it a few minutes. It takes a while for these actuators to actuate. So in that time, you can secure the drain cover. Make sure that's nice and tight and that the valve is closed so you don't have any leaks. Now you can apply that actuator because we have a little bit of slack and it clicked on super easy. It's already on there. So that pretty much finishes the repair. Just make sure all the other actuators are on there. Verify every zone is heating and that you don't have any leaks anywhere. You tightened everything down. And the last thing we do is drain the air out of the manifold through this little pinhole, and we're good to go. So if you found this content helpful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.